Hello, Rosebuds. Hello. Sorry I'm a bit late. I know I usually do this in the morning. We are at sunrise, as y'all can tell. At sunset. As y'all can tell, the sun is to the west of me and not to the east. But I have spent the entire morning with two of my daughters. They're with me now. My oldest is knocked out. My youngest is watching a video in the back seat. But I still wanted to make sure that I showed up. And I am here. If this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Kimberly Ann. I create content to help people get out of dark places and transform their lives. I also have 3 daughters and 4 nieces. I like to leave these videos as little breadcrumbs to help them be able to navigate those dark, murky ass waters we call life, like I had to do. Okay. Check my description box below. Plenty of offerings. Also, I have a wonderful book that helps you unlock or begin to unlock your path so you can get out of really horrible conditions and start to get on your better path, your right path, your soul's path. Okay. Also, hit subscribe. Gently hit subscribe. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with someone who you feel would need to hear this message, because this message is about to be a banger. 1, 2, 3, as I said that. This is about to be a banger, and I hope y'all learn something from this one. This is a little bit more of a serious message. I actually had asked God, okay, listen, we spent all week dogging out the people who didn't fulfill their roles. I need to give my collective, my rosebuds, something so then they will know how I ended up in the position, or not the positions, how I ended up feeling the same position with 3 horrible candidates. So this video is about, and I got my notes. This video is about how I manipulated into bad relationships. But I'm doing it from a point of business, because once I realized how I was picking my partners, it showed me my flaws in when I had a business. And it made me realize why it was hard for me to hire people to help me with the business that I had, and why I just let it go. It was because I lacked a structure or of some sort on how to pick, and because I had basically let myself down in the relationship department, I ended up not trusting myself to pick the right business partners. Therefore, that was the reason why I shut my business down, because I'm not even about to bother with it. So I feel like I'm too short in this camera frame. Hold on, y'all. Oh yeah, that's better. Yeah, I felt like I was too short in that camera frame. So when I realized this, I said, oh my God, now I see why my business didn't work. It's because I had basically let myself down so many times in love and trying to pick a long-term partner. I basically was I just can't trust anyone. But that was because I didn't have the right containers in place. I didn't have the right structures. I didn't let my masculine side of me create the right no boundaries. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't let my masculine side create the right boundaries. Neither did I allow him to create my non-negotiables, and just basically create, how you go to different jobs and they have a requirements list. I didn't have that. I didn't have that when I picked all 3 of my children's fathers. I didn't have that when it came to my business. I literally thought I could do it myself, but that hyper independence came from growing up with parents, and in particular my dad, but with parents who felt like they could do it all on their own. They didn't need nobody. They didn't need a community. They didn't need people to help them out. But that's because they had been let down so much, which I understand. But some of their letdown was also some of their fault as well. So 3 things that I wanted to talk about that led me into manipulating my way into 3 bad relationships. And I call it manipulating because some of us rosebuds, and we have to take accountability for this, saw a potential partner at face value and did not take their resumes into account and we tried to love them into what we wanted. And if you really sit and think about it, that's manipulation. That is manipulation. And that is why if you may have been with someone, they ended up manipulating you, but that was because they literally was mirroring your behavior. That person technically knew that they weren't qualified to a point, but they also knew that you would love them anyway. And you, in a way, had red flags and still tried to love them into what you wanted them to be. Just like they tried to manipulate you into just accepting their bullshit. I hope this is making sense. I really do. Because it made sense to me, okay? When it was coming through and I said, oh my God, I literally manipulated my way into all of my relationships. And that's my fault. Like, I had to take accountability for that. Like, I legitimately saw red flags, seen that they really weren't qualified, but I still tried to love them anyway. Now, granted, I'm not shaming myself for that, because love is love. If you are a loving being, then loving someone anyway is not your fault. What you are at fault for is trying to hold on to them knowing you guys aren't compatible. That is where the accountability kicks in, because if that person isn't enough for you, you have to have enough je ne sais quoi to let them go and be with someone they can be less for. And you need to just trust that the universe is going to send you someone who can be what it is you need them to be. And that was what I had to say to myself, like, Kim, you were selfish in a lot of situations where you held the cards. And even though I walked away from all 3 relationships, I could have walked away much sooner. And I didn't, because I thought, like, if I love them a little more, they'll be better. But that's because, back to the childhood, listening to my parents' stories. You know, my mom was like, you know, your dad used to be so rough and this, that, and the other. And, you know, he changed for me. He did, da-da-da-da-da. But nobody changes for you. They change when they want to change. My dad adjusted for my mom because my mom was leaving, and it wasn't safe for him to stay in Atlanta. So it wasn't really a change, it was a survival mechanism. For real. Like, and I hate to say it like that, because those are my parents, but that's where I learned a lot of my behaviors from, and I'm realizing how that shit does not work. It has not worked for me, like, at all. So, first thing, and I just touched on this, the way I manipulated my way into bad relationships is I did not accept them for what was on their resume. And I'm gonna be real, I didn't even look at their resumes. If you let me break it down for you. The resume is a tool you use. You have your own guideline for a position, and then you take a person's resume and you match to the guidelines of your position, which would be, i.e., boyfriend, husband, longtime partner, if that's what you want. Okay, you would take their resume and you would check off, okay, I need someone who's reliable. It says they're reliable. I need someone who has longevity. Oh, I see that they have been in these jobs for umpteen years. They definitely check they have longevity. I need references or friends, people who know them that can speak for their character. Let me check. Okay, yes, they have references. They have good friends. They have friends that have been around them for years, and they're like, yo, my dude, he's a good dude. I ain't just saying that because he my boy, you know what I'm saying, but he a real one. I cannot tell y'all, all 3 of my children's fathers, I did not realize I never talked to any of their friends before I even got into a serious relationship with them. Never met any friends or any of that. Now I understand the importance of, before y'all get into an engagement or anything, the importance of actually meeting each other's friend circles. For me, the fear of meeting other folks was wounds that I had from when I was a teenager, when I was dating people. And like, I had one guy I dated, we were going to prom, we were supposed to go to prom together, and we did. His mom hated my guts, and I never even had met her. I didn't even know why. And from that point forward, I was like, I don't want to deal with nobody mamas. I'm cool. I'm straight. Then I also had wounds around friends because of shit that I went through in high school. So I also was like, no, I don't need to see your friends. I'm not fucking them. I'm fucking you type shit. So, you know, I just was like, I shied away from it. But I see where that fear really hindered me, because if I really had have met their families and their friends, I can guarantee you I would not be with any of them. Like my youngest child's father, when I met his auntie, the way his aunt talked about him, and the crazy part, she didn't even realize how negative she talked about him. And I put two and two together, like, oh, he's an idiot. Like, she was even like, he can't do no wrong in my eyes. So basically, you're telling me he's been at fault in various situations, and there have been numerous situations. You, as an old ass woman, should have spoke up, and you didn't, just to keep the peace with your nephew, because you know your nephew will cut somebody off who don't say yes to him. But you also say, oh, he'll listen to me. You contradicting yourself. So I wish that I had met her first, because I promise you it would not have went past 6 months. I guarantee you, at all. So that's what I mean by check the resume. See how this person react. This person says they work. See where they, not see where they work, but listen at where they work. Are they talking about going there all the time? Like, you really gotta examine. Like, if I was an HR director, ain't no way in hell I would not be, like, I would be on that. I need to check. I'm calling these jobs. How are they as an employee? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm literally in my head like, this is why I couldn't hire for my business, because I lacked the structure that I needed for myself. So now I'm spending this time not just making structures for my love life, but I'm also making structures and requirements for my dating life as well. I mean, for my next business adventure that I will go into, because I'm like, I need structure, because I'm gonna need help in my next chapter. I'm not doing it alone again. I did it once by myself, hustle, did my thing, but I'm not doing it that way ever again. I refuse. And I did a lot, but now I know every job, so can't nobody play with me. So if it don't get done, it's gonna get done anywhere it go, but you'll be fired. Like, even in my love life, I know how to love me now. So now I know what it should look like coming from somebody outside of me. You get what I'm saying? That's where self-love comes in. And you have to check your own fucking resume, because you can't expect for someone to be a better employee than you, and you're not even a good employee for your motherfucking self. And that's the talk that I had to have with myself. That is the talk I had to have with myself. So the next point is, I was thinking there will be no better options. If you think about companies like Google, Yahoo, a good one here in Cleveland is Progressive Auto Insurance. They get thousands of applications every single day. And this ties into my third one, which is recognizing the value I held, so I wouldn't hire a poor employee or poor boyfriend. And those three companies, first of all, they're publicly traded, okay? So they hold a lot of value. And I had to realize the value that I had. No, I'm not for the streets. I'm not publicly traded. However, just like those companies, they provide so much service, philanthropy, and just good. They are companies that made their stamp in this world, right? They made their stamp in this world, and nobody can really replace them. Like, what would we do without a Progressive Auto Insurance? Yes, they have competition, but there are things that they provide no one else can provide, right? Nobody can really replace Google for real. You get what I'm saying? Maybe ChatGPT, but even then, they can't, because they can't even replace Google, because ChatGPT uses Google. So, like, let's think about that. You know what I'm saying? They bring a very valuable piece or key to the world. They hold great value. So when I started thinking of myself as Google, Progressive, Yahoo, Tesla, because that's my dream car, and I started thinking of myself like that, equating my value. And I'm like, okay, Kim, you have a lot of talents and gifts, and you have a really big heart. just the big heart alone holds a lot of value, because there are so many shallow ass people in this world. There are so many shallow ass people. However, how will you protect that really big heart? That was the next question. Like, if your heart was glass, who would you have hold it? Who would be qualified? Would you give your glass heart to a wrestler who is just rough all the fucking time? No, you wouldn't. You would more than likely look for a jeweler that maybe is guarding or owns the rarest diamond in the world to give your heart to, because you know they're going to put it in a case, they're going to keep it secure, they're going to have top-notch security. You get what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. So, back to my second thing, thinking there will be no better option. Knowing your value and comparing it to the value of Fortune 500 companies, there will always be options. Not all options are good options, but there will always be options. And the more you allow yourself to accept multiple options, the greater your chances will be to find a better love. And that is how I started moving. I turn people down every day for dates. I do. I turn them down. You're not it. I'm sorry. I don't like you. I don't even like how you came at me. Like, if you come at me like, what up, girl? It's an automatic no. Like, automatic no. First of all, I'm a grown-ass woman. So, like, I have my checklist. And I realize I hold a lot of damn value. I carry my own. I carry myself as a wife. Even though I'm not one, I still carry myself as a wife. I'm not out here. I'm not for the streets. I'm not trying to show off my curves. You can see them without me even having to show them off. You get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to do none of that. I'm not out here looking like a transformer, looking one way with makeup on and another way with makeup off. I barely even wear makeup. I'm very natural. As y'all can see, my hyperpigmentation. I'm very natural. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hold myself to high regards because I've always wanted that sun glowy, dewy skin, which is why I love shooting my videos in natural sunlight. So I pride myself. I have standards that I live by. You know what I'm saying? I must take time for myself. Now I've incorporated going to the shoreway and taking a walk every day. I've incorporated that. That is a new standard that I've equated for myself. So whomever I get with, they either need to be okay with me leaving every morning to go take my walks, or they need to be coming with me and walking with me. You get what I'm saying? So that's now a new standard. So now my value has risen. So now when you get ready to go and find somebody else, now you will be able to check, compare notes, compare resumes to your standards, to your guidelines. And instead of you saying, I'm going to work with this one, I'm going to love this one into what I want. No, you're not going to do that. Instead, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go with a different candidate. And let that person go be less for someone else. Because there's always somebody for somebody. Like, I realize that now. There's always somebody for somebody. If someone say you too much, there is someone out there that can be too much for you. If someone is not enough for you, there is someone out there that will be okay with them and they're not enough. Let them go do that. Don't hold someone else's love from them because you have a lack mindset. And I had to delete the lack mindset out of my criteria and understand that there are more than enough options. I'm like, Kim, you're not ugly. You're a really sweet person. You love everybody. You do not have to settle for what you have. And that was one of the keys that helped me walk away from my last relationship so easy. And it was definitely part of the keys as to why I didn't end up in any of the relationships that I've not relationships, but the daters or the candidates that I had over this year. They weren't qualified. They weren't it. Like the one guy who I thought might have been it, and I told him in the beginning, I'm rotationally dating for marriage. So he knew I was rotationally dating. I guess he didn't believe me. So then when he realized he couldn't take me on a date, but somebody else could, he got mad and blocked me. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't calling you back anyway for the position because you got jealous, and instead of focusing on how you handle the position, you focused on other candidates. So since you turned your attention to the other candidates must have been a better idea anyway. Did it die? Oh, her phone died. Oh, okay. Well, just leave her asleep. Hold it for a second. Okay? All right, we're going to get out. I'm almost done with my video, okay? Okay. So that was it. And like I said, my last one is recognizing the value that I had so that I wouldn't hire poor employees or a poor boyfriend. Ladies, I can't stress you enough. Love is not enough. I thought love would be enough. Take it from me. I'm telling you from experience, love is not enough. Love is not enough. It is so much more that goes into having a really beautiful relationship that love definitely ain't enough. And it's so funny because a lot of the divorces that are happening are like financial divorces, which sucks. But unfortunately it's not enough. You know, you got to be willing to know that the person you're trying to be with has enough guts and willpower to, in the event that they see you all struggle financially, they're willing to push through and help to create more abundance. Like, I realized for me, I have to be with a man who has a creative mindset, who always thinks, because I'm always thinking, like, I'm always thinking of things to do, ways to create a service, I'm always thinking of ways to make money. I do not have one way to make money in my head. Like, I have 50 different ways to make money in my head, and I'm always thinking. My downfall was that I never knew how to pick partners. And one thing I had to learn was it's okay to be self-sufficient and independent, but you also have to be just as good at picking reliable sources and partners. Like, I never had used a mentor until last year when I did my party, and I truly feel if I had not had my mentors, I might not have pulled that party off. I can't hold you. And like this year, I wanted to get better in my relationship area, so I joined a group and worked with 2 mentors. They're a husband and wife couple, and that's what I did. So now I kind of have like better guidelines as to how I should do things. I could take those skills and move forward. And I'm not saying that I won't have any more mentors. I'll probably have plenty more mentors, honestly, because now I love having mentors because I love what I learned. And I've always been a lifetime learner, always wanted to learn things, you name it. Okay, so that was the end of my spiel. I didn't want it to be too long, but like I said, I wanted to show up for y'all. You get what I'm saying? But I wanted today's message to be special because we right now have a Venus opposing Saturn, or is getting ready to oppose Saturn, and Venus is in her home sign of Libra and Saturn is in Pisces, which is my sign. So there is a bit of a letting go and balancing act happening right now, and you're basically taking something off the scale that doesn't allow for you to have harmony in your relationships. That's the best way I can describe this Venus and Saturn transit. And this is something that you've had for a long time with Saturn being there, because Saturn takes a long time to, it delays. It delays a lot. So you've had something delaying you from harmony for quite some time. And with this opposition happening, this is now a good chance to let something go so you can have that harmony that you've probably been trying to have. And for me, it has been in partnerships and business partnerships, in business, in my money. And which is funny because I have Saturn in my second house of income, self-worth, and then Venus is in my 9th house, which is like travel and what else is up there? Travel. And with Venus being there, it's like my Libra being there, it's harmony in relationships and things like that. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. But like I said, I wanted to show up for you rosebuds. I love you guys to the moon and back. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, ring my bell so you know when I post. Like I said, I'm trying to show up every day for my rosebuds in some kind of way. I hope today's message helps somebody. If you need one-on-one guidance, counseling, want to get some advice from someone who literally is living out her truth before your eyes and learning lessons. I've learned a lot, but I'm still learning more. Like now I'm in my healing. I'm healed to a point. So I say that I'm in my next healing season, because healing is like an onion. It comes in layers. You may have healed from the trauma, but now you have to heal your way into love. You have to heal your way into healthy partnerships. And that's where I am right now, is learning how to heal into a healthy partnership. So then I don't bleed on the next person, because I'm not going to bleed on the next person. My next person is going to be my last person. I can tell you that right now. Dating is for the birds. It's ghetto. Like Earth. But we won't go there. All right, Rosebuds. Love you guys.